This is the ACNN Now streaming show. And we just finished the segment of the show, which is the newspaper review segment. And right about now, we would be going into discussing the topical issues that is in the front burner of all that we would be doing on the show this morning. This morning, like I earlier introduced from the very start, is that we would be looking on the topic that says coping with people with special need. But there is a clause to that where I say we are bringing or touching or using special emphasis on people who have autism, now dealing with these issues within the autism spectrum. Now we have right here in the studio Dr. Rose Umbanefo. Dr. Rose Umbanefo is the founder of Mindful Bridge Therapy Foundation. Doctor, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you again,
this morning. All right. I think we will dive into the conversation for you this morning, and we would first be starting not just with you telling us about autism itself. We will definitely come into that. So let's talk about first your foundation.
Okay.
What do they do?
So Mindful Bridges Foundation is an NGO that is in the United Kingdom, registered in the United Kingdom and here in Nigeria. So basically, I'm looking at it from the perspective of my own story, So I have a child. He's 13 years old now. So he has a diagnosis of autism and comorbidity of learning difficulty. So obviously, a lot of things happened before I started this, even in the UK, because I was living there with him at that time. He was born there. So obviously, after the diagnosis, for 2 years, I went dark, as in I had depression, basically. But after some time, I said, no, this has to change. Something has to give way. So at that time, I decided to just take on courses, just to be a bit more proactive in caring for him. So that was how we started. And then before I decided to start something up then in the UK, so it started as an informal group. So migrants that came, that had relocated to the UK, and like I would always say, there's a cultural undertone to everything. We say, oh no, God forbid, it's not me. Many people were not even accepting of that fact. But I kind of felt
this form of denial.
Absolutely denial. Thank you very much. That's the word, denial. So I said to them, listen, I'm not happy that this has happened to my son, but this is what it is. Let us embrace this. Let us accept it. Let's become aware. So that was actually the origin of it. And I just thought of it. I said, okay, this foundation would kind of build a bridge, okay, that will move these people from not able, in quote, to being able. So my foundation acts like a bridge that kind of, moves them to the other side of the, of the continuum, if you like. So, so that's, basically that's the, my guiding principle. But coming here, when I came back to Nigeria, I thought about it. I said, because you need to think far. I thought about it. I said, okay, you can't judge a fish by its inability to climb a tree. There are other things a fish can do. So what do? Okay, the child might not be able to do algebra. They might not read Shakespeare, but there are other things. So identify what's there in that child. Work on it. So what my foundation is doing now is that I've decided to go onto vocational skills. So I'm teaching them hair plaiting and bead making, carpentry, coding. Just think about it. So
and how has it been the impact with this special needs? I know it takes, I would say, it takes a lot of patience when you're dealing with them. And when I just read about it. I'm sorry, I just read about it. It is not an illness. It is not a disease, and it might not even be at birth. How do you handle these special people? How do you do that?
Well, honestly, I think the basic thing there is patience, love, hope. Very, very important. So remember when I said to you that when I had the depression, of course I loved my child definitely, and was I patient? Sometimes. Did I have hope? No. So it was only after 2 years that I had wasted 2 years of my life that I decided to, that was when the hope came. So these three things are very important. And obviously, for you to have these three things, obviously you're going to be prayerful, isn't it?
And this
So
didn't happen at birth.
Oh no, 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 not at all, not at all. I mean, he was developing well until probably until about 15, 18 months. Yeah. So basically,
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Doctor,
you.
for sharing insightfully on your NGO and how you have been able to cope with your own child. Because having a personal experience in all of these things is key. All right, viewers, before we go ahead, we just want to encourage you and tell you that you can be part of this conversation by calling in the number showing on your screen and also by sharing your comment via our various social media platform on the topical issues that we are discussing this morning, and we would do well to take them and also read some of your questions to our guests who would be doing justice by giving us the right answers, especially to her who have been dealing with the issue and also have formed an NGO because of the challenge that she have been through as regards to autism. All right, we will be going right into asking more questions, and we trust that you are set to give us more answers. Autism is one, I call it, condition that is often misunderstood. You get by a whole lot of persons. You see the child most times, not just co-mobility issues. This child is developing well, but when it comes to relating, social behaviors and the rest, that is when someone who haven't known before will begin to have traces to say this person is not really coherent in how he or she assimilates things. Now the question to you is, how would you help caregivers understand these signs? Invariably, what are those first signs to look out for a child who maybe is developing well and begins to show symptoms of some of these things?
Okay. Right. So basically, I think we'll need to talk about so basically some characteristics of autism. So we do know that there are three key things. So there's restriction in communication, in social interaction, and then there's this kind of repetitive behavior you see in that child. So basically, so let's say if a child was between 12 and 18 months, the child is not really communicating, speaking. Of course, I do know sometimes there's a delay in speech.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, for the most part, let's say the child was 18 months, the child is not responding to their name. Maybe you say booby, the child is not looking, is not responding. It's a red flag.
Yeah.
It's a red flag. Okay. You're trying to play with the child wants to just be alone, or maybe the child is just kind of stacking up toys. It's also a red flag. So these are things to kind of look out for. Sensory issues. So at that point, so remember, then I didn't know much about that. It was after my son that I went on to get myself create that awareness. But I remember then maybe the washing machine could come on. He's covering his ears. Like, I mean, this is normal. But so it was later on that I got to know. So basically, for parents, and then do you know something else? For parents, especially mothers, to be honest, you can tell when something's not right.
Yeah.
There's just something about mothers, so you can tell. So my advice would be, please, if you think what's it called? The developmental milestone. If you look at it and you think your child is not meeting, just seek advice. Go to your GP, go to your doctor, and just check it out. Basically.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. When she was talking, I feel okay. You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot because not every other person can stand in your shoe, doing what you're doing now, you have this special need, and you've gone a long way again to help others in doing the same thing.
Thank you.
Okay, as it stands now, is there any, we hear there is no treatment, but is there something they can take to kind of aid, or yes, to aid their, we talk about speech and their behaviors? Is there anything they take on a daily basis or something like that?
Okay, well, so in terms of medication,
Medication,
yeah,
yeah.
well, in terms of medication, so my son, like I said, has a comorbidity of ADHD as well. So which means he's very active, he's very hyperactive, So so people sometimes medicate their children. Now, I'm not a fan of that, yeah, because obviously, there could be, well, there will be side effects. But anyway, what I try to do is, like I said, I've identified his strength. He's very, very energetic. So what I do is I try to work him out during the day. So in fact, my son's activity, he does swimming, he does basketball, he does table tennis, he does roller skate, he does bicycle riding.
Oh, wow.
So by the time he does all of this in a day,
He's worn out.
He is worn out. And then I also try to have like a schedule for him. They work well with that. So in the morning I have an activity schedule. So in the morning we list out what he has to do. So he actually knows, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But again, don't forget, this is a typical 13-year-old boy. Of course, we do know what a typical 13-year-old boy is. Sometimes they want to, they don't, even for a typical developing child, sometimes, we're all kids. Sometimes you don't want to do everything your parent tells you to do. So what I would also say is just for us to know where to draw the line between autism and when a child is just being that child. So and again, there are some multivitamins. He takes the omega-3, which even we all take it. It's good for the brain development. So apart from that, those will just be the medication I give to him, omega-3, and then I just get his day busy with activities to do.
Okay.
Does he always do that? Not always, but for the most part.
Before Godwin comes in, we know, yes, these are special needs children. Does he go out? What challenges does he face? We know this special needs, when they go out, we have this, they are being bullied, they are being relegated to one side because they can't fit in with other children. What other challenges, and how do you cope in such situation?
Okay. So obviously, when he goes out, in the society, again, I would say because people don't understand this, so people judge what they don't understand. So do you mind if I just show you something here?
Okay.
Okay. So basically,
Go ahead.
So basically, in my house, I have this. Okay. So the moment you come into my house, this is the first thing that greets you. So it means my child has autism. If his behavior is upsetting you, then it's better you stay away.
Sure.
Of course. So for me to have put this, because I have since recognized that I am his voice, I have to speak for him. So having said that, even in the home, you'll be surprised. Even among siblings, sometimes you could just find out that he is being, bullied. But in terms of going outside, yes, people don't understand that. And I'll just very quickly share something that happened.
Okay.
One of the days we went to the immigration to renew his Nigerian passport. Okay. And again, you see, because that awareness isn't there, so we came in, obviously, crowd. You see, so remember I said to you, they have issues with social interaction.
Yeah.
So when he came in, it was so overwhelming. You know how immigration is. There were
how to
people
fit
everywhere.
in.
Yes, exactly. The lights. So he was, he was very uncomfortable. I mean, you and I would say, "Oh, can I go to the car?" Or you find a way to regulate yourself. But he was uncomfortable, so he had a meltdown. So by the time they sat him down to capture, he was upset. And then to make matters worse, people there were screaming, madam, what happened to this boy? In fact, I broke down crying because it was also overwhelming for me. But it just took one lady. And I was trying to say to them, this is what we should do. So the way I'm sat here, somebody just went over there and just put on a program on the phone. And because he liked that program, so he was staring at the catch up.
Oh, wow.
So that was all that was needed to, we needed to do.
Get his attention.
Exactly. So basically, yeah, it's just to, create that awareness. Okay. And so in terms of, bullying, again, even the typical developing child is being bullied. But again, like I said, it's just to, create that awareness. So what I do for my son, sometimes I just send an invitation to the people in his class, to the parents. I just say to them, Bube, that's my son, Bube is having a play date today. So can your children come? So they come to the house, so I mean, that's seated somewhere, away from the classroom. So you see, it helps with the bonding. And I send them, so when I'm sending that text, I tell the parents, please, when your child gets home, can you just tell them that Ibube has special needs? They should be more friendly. Honestly, that has really worked.
Oh, wow.
It's worked
That's
a lot.
beautiful.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. It's quite for me an emotional
Yeah,
moment right
you
here in the
get, yeah.
studio, and the courage of having to share your own personal experience on issues is really an encouragement, not just for us here in the studio, but for our audience and for families that are struggling with people having this special need. But just to ask, I love the fact that you spoke about him being in school. So that is what is prompting my next question. Now, how can schools, especially the Nigerian school year, I believe his school's in Nigeria, so how can our schools create a more inclusive environment for children within the autism spectrum?
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's a very important question. So first of all, we need to remove the barriers. Okay. So instead of just building walls, because that's what we're building, we're just building walls. We're not really removing the barriers. So you see, that kind of a thing, it requires a total approach. So everybody has to be involved, from the bus driver to the security man at the gate, to the teacher, to the girl, to the lady at the canteen, to the class teacher, to the class pupils. So it requires everybody. So for instance, remember when we talked about the characteristics? So loud noise, for instance. So the bell. I mean, we instead of using the bell, because some of them, when the bell goes out, like my son would close, and that might. So these are things you need to talk about in the class. So, and like I said, it involves everyone, but training. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. Training, create that awareness. I mean, schools should invest in that, because, to be honest with you, in Nigeria, Bube came back. I brought him back 2021. Okay. Now, I didn't bring him back because the schools were necessarily great. I brought him back because I needed him to do a lot of physical things, because I couldn't do all of that there. So when I came, I noticed that the schools were not really, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we are just putting the plaster just on it. We're not treating the wound. In fact, we're just beginning to scratch the surface. Okay, so yeah, I think we need to be more inclusive. So that training, and then you can also do some classroom adjustment. Like I said, for instance, some of the lightings in the classroom, you could just tone down on it a little bit. Okay. So the same thing would apply to our churches as well. And then as well, so for the teacher, you could also break down your subjects. So let's say you were doing mathematics. Okay, so you can also just there's something called task differentiation. So you could just break it down for that child. So instead of writing 4 plus 9, for instance, you could draw 4 apples and 5 apples. And then the child, because many of them are visual learners, so they learn, they like to see what they're doing. Yeah. So the child could also count 4 apples, and just, because he's drawn, and they'll be able to do it. So while the other people are doing that, he's also learning. Yeah, so it's just to be a bit more accepting.
Okay. Right. Just to ask a follow-up question to all what you just said, I got to discover that, like, your son goes to the average school that every other child goes to. Now, this is you emphasizing for the teachers having a special training to understand the special need of this child. But we also have special schools where children who need more special attention should go to.
Oh.
Now, are we saying that rather than send them to these special places where everything within the environment allows for this special attention, but school should rather adjust to allow everyone fit in and just blend? Because why I'm asking, you just spoke about the belting, so it becomes more challenging for the child with special need why is accepted by other children. So are we calling for institutions to begin to adjust everything just to fit in that special child?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. That's what I'm calling for. Again, I'm not a fan of special school. That's because when the child leaves the school, is he going to be in a special society?
But there are special schools for such
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yes, there are. Yeah, I think in Abuja we have about 4 or 5 of them, or 6 of them. Yeah, yeah. So the reason why I'm not a fan is when the child finally leaves school, he's not going to be in the special society. He's still going to come out to the wider society. So so why don't I put him in a mainstream school, okay, where he begins to kind of fit in, and then the typical developing people should also learn to understand this, because they're going to live in the society
and accept them.
Exactly, yeah, they can accept that. And then okay, and the reason I'll tell you, do you know, according to the CDC, Center for Disease Control in America, so 1 in 127 people you meet on earth has autism. So remember, it's a wide spectrum. Okay, now to bring it even closer, in the UK, okay, one out of every 55 children you meet has some sort of neurodevelopmental condition. Bringing it home now to Nigeria. Obviously, we don't have accurate database. But what I found out was that in the study done in was it 2021, they said 930,000 people. Now we don't know how accurate that is.
Broad spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So now, what does that tell you? It tells you that this is getting closer. I mean, it's scary, but it's getting closer. So so basically, having said that, it means, okay, so think about that. If you were a teacher, so it means that before you finish your career life, you're going to meet one such person. So what are you going to do? How equipped are you? So that's very important that we begin to create that awareness, okay? And like I would say, I suppose probably if I didn't have a child, I might not even know all of this. So sometimes I don't blame people when they're ignorant. But just left to us to begin to create that awareness.
It's same with me coming here and sitting with you, dishing out all this. It's like new to me, and going through researching before coming here, I never knew about this much. Yes,
I teach someone else.
Yes. We have a comment from one of our viewers, Chichi from Abuja. She said, "You are a very courageous mother. You didn't give up on your son and everything to ensure he is not left behind. I am very sure you have challenged a lot of people to take out time to care for people with autism." Yes.
Wow.
God bless ACNNTV for
much.
educating the public on this. Please keep doing more of
thank
this.
you very
Yes,
much.
I am sure this.
Motivated.
Yes, this alone has will make so many people who shy away from taking care of such individuals.
Stigma.
The
That's a
stigma
problem.
come close to them more. Yeah. Godwin, please.
All right. Thank you so much. I just got an information from my director now. Okay. The picture showing on the screen. I believe. Can you give an explainer to this?
Sorry, can I come closer? I
Okay.
can't see that. I don't have my glasses.
It's not broad enough. Okay.
Okay, well, of course, I do know that's autism sign, but I can't see the writings there. So
Okay. No, there are no
writing,
writing.
Okay,
Just,
yeah. Okay, so basically, what that means, because like I said, it's a spectrum, so it just means now, you can see that looks like a puzzle, So, so it actually means there are, missing pieces, okay, that, obviously, what people think it can be put together, but like you said, it's not a disease. There's no cure. There's no cure for it. So people are just, just the way their brains are wired. That's what it is. And then I'll tell you, the Silicon Valley in America is a high-tech company. The majority of their staff are people on the spectrum because
Wow.
because they have attention to detail.
Wow.
So like my son is non-verbal, mostly non-verbal. So you can imagine for a 13-year-old. But there are other ways, I try to communicate with him. But basically, they do have their own strength. There are other things that they're very good at because many of them are good with tech. So Silicon Valley, like I said, is a high, IT and all of that. So basically, that's what that diagram is. So it's like a puzzle, missing pieces, but they don't need to be fixed. You don't need to fix those pieces.
All right, Doctor. Just to come in here, outside the puzzle that was just shown on screen for the benefit of our viewers, you are not just a mother of one who has this how do I put it now? This challenge. You have assumed the role of also a teacher because you first teach your son before even transferring him to a place where he would have a broader spectrum of learning. But you also came on set with some instructional materials. So I don't know if you would want to give us an insight to some of these materials that you are with. Yes, you can.
So remember when I talked about the activity schedule, okay? And I said every day when we wake up in the morning, you can see that to do. So so I have the days of the week. So let's just say today was Thursday. Okay. So he hasn't gotten to the stage of knowing by Thursday, but we'll get there, please God. So that day, Thursday, so we'll put in Thursday. And I said to him today, Bube, you're going to school. Let's assume this is school. Okay, so he gets it. I'll have the cards there. So so he's putting school. I'm just assuming it's a picture of a school. Okay, so breakfast. So you can see that. So he's putting his breakfast. Okay, and like I said, remember he's a typical developing 13-year-old. But what do they do sometimes? Sometimes they're naughty. Okay, so sometimes if it's an activity he doesn't want to do, let's say he doesn't want to go to the park. So instead of putting so basically
you mean he does this by himself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just put the Thursday. I just put the day of the week. So he's he's sifting through the pictures. So he's he's just kind of arranging
Fixing them up,
what he wants to do. So when he comes from school, he knows, okay, but what's the next thing? So that he points to it. That's okay, very good. Now, so the reason why we would do that, because if you don't do that, sometimes they don't really know what next. They don't really know what next. So you can imagine if someone comes into the studio now, you're meant to be here, right? And they say, okay, Rachel, you're going to China. How are you going to feel? So that's it. They need to know what they're doing. Then another thing I use with him is the
I'm happy.
yeah. So the
I want to play with toys.
yeah. So he kind of presses it, and just tells me. So this is called AAC. So AAC means the augmentative, assistive technology communication. So this is communication. So again,
So whatever he wants to do when he press like this now.
I'm hungry.
Okay, he knows that he's hungry. You need to
Exactly.
get him something to eat.
Absolutely, yeah. So then another thing, when I see he's very unsettled, because it happens to him sometimes.
Indeed.
You're unsettled. Especially the mothers, because we're doing so much.
Sure.
So he's unsettled. So I give this to him, and he just presses.
press
Yeah. So
it.
these are called dirty toys.
Okay.
So he just presses it, to calm himself, and then sometimes I let him jump. I do with him.
This is a lot to swallow in this morning.
And
yes.
not just for her, I wish even schools should have instructional materials like this. It will help these teachers to be able to communicate well
Yeah,
with those
absolutely.
having this challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fair play, some schools, like the school he goes to now, so it's called Jewel Leading Light. I mean, fair play to them that really tried. And again, like I said, you see, it's not a destination. We keep you keep going on and on as a child grows. You continue to look for ways that would, that would fit his lifestyle. But remember, no two child are the same. So I could have it. I'm different, and you're different as well. So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Before we go, because we're actually run out of time, there is one particular thing we've not discussed or dealt with, which is on the issue of stigma. Now, and I believe that a whole lot of autism, do I use the word patients or children
Yeah,
passing
children,
through
you're
this,
right.
you discover that there's a whole lot of stigma within the society and the rest of it. So how do you get to deal with this? And how does your child cope with all of this?
And before you come in, I know there is this kind of misconception with these kids having a special need when they go into the society. Maybe something happened in the family. We Africans, this is spiritual. This has to do with this. I know. Maybe the mom did something that led to this and stuff like that. As you're talking about this, please also, yes, it's something to laugh over. I know people.
Yes.
People come up
Yes,
with this
funny.
once in a
Yes,
while.
yes, Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Very important questions. Now, well, you can see I found that a bit amusing because yes, we've heard that. So you can imagine I have 3 daughters, and then before I had him.
Okay.
Okay. So
And they are very
very, yeah, very, very okay. Yeah, very, very, very okay. And I mean, I thank God for my daughters because they become so involved. Even in the foundation. Yeah, because because they've been working with him. Right. So having said that, the African culture, we don't know when Mama Nkechi in quote or Mama Sosa. Yeah, because everything there has to be a spiritual thing to it, and not necessarily. So right. So what when I started this foundation in the UK, that was why, of course, it was the migrants I was targeting. And I said to them, you know what, we've come in with those beliefs. Just leave it aside. Your child has a diagnosis, face it. Face it, start early intervention. And then in terms of stigma, oh yes, to be honest, I initially, like I said, remember I told you 2 years I didn't know what I was doing. Yes, that stigma was there. I mean, I felt ashamed, bringing him out, and then, sometimes maybe when people come around, you want to hide that child. And unfortunately, when I got back here, I noticed even now, people are still hiding their children. And that was why I, remember the sign I showed you? I said, no, I'm not hiding it anymore. It is what it is. I can't throw him away. But in all that I'm doing, of course, God first. Even when the therapists I work with him, the teachers, I said to them, please, we'll pray before we start anything. Yeah. So yeah, that stigma is there, to be honest. But because you see, like I said, people judge what they don't know, what they don't understand. But the moment we begin to create that awareness, everybody begins to hear about it. You've heard about it today. You've heard about it. So the moment we begin to create that awareness, we're driving that, people begin to understand that, then they're going to be less judgmental.
All right, Doctor, I must tell you that a whole lot of viewers are following you on this show and waiting for you to express yourself very much, except most especially because they found it amusing to see the strength for which you are coping with this challenge. This is Nigeria, and we know how people reason things out. So it's on that note, I just want to ask, how would you advise a parent who is trying to cope or finding it tough to cope emotionally and also challenging with this particular issue? What would be that one advice you have for that kind of parent?
Okay, thank you for that. But unfortunately, I will not give just one advice. Rather, I'm going to tell a story.
Okay.
And then in telling the story, I do not lay claim to being the original web, but of course I've adapted it, I've added something. So having a child with special needs or autism is like you planning to travel to Switzerland. On the World Index, Switzerland is the top 5 countries to live in the world. Okay, you've never traveled out, but your first time, and you hop on the flight. Meanwhile, you've read everything about Switzerland. It's beautiful. In fact, you know all the streets. off by heart. And then you hop on the flight and the pilot lands and says, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Somalia. Again, World Index, Somalia is the bottom 5 countries to live in. And you say, oh, but my boarding pass says Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Pilot say, well, sorry, this is where the plane is going to be forever and ever. You can't move. What do you do? But you say, oh, but I don't know anything about Somalia. I read about Switzerland. So you're going to be on that flight, okay? You're going to be mourning and groaning. Your life is actually passing away. So what do you do? Trust me. The same way you read your what's it called, your whatever, and you find out about Switzerland, you're going to go back and read about Somalia. In Somalia, they have some beautiful beaches. They have the hills. You see, just those 2 beautiful things. Walk on it. You get off the flight, grab your bag, go and look for those beaches, go and stay there and be happy, because there's something good about Somalia as well. So what am I saying? Yes, so you have a diagnosis for your child. It looks bleak and all of that. There is something about your child. Go find that thing. Now, having said that, of course, it's not everyone's, you might not be willing to do that immediately, but I'm just saying it to the parents, especially the mothers, because I know what I'm talking about. This is Africa. This is Nigeria. Especially for the mothers. It's okay to cry. Yeah, of course, you may cry sometimes, but so you do that and you rise above it. Continue to pray. Ask God, what is this child's strength? What can I identify? There's something about that child. Please look for that, and then try to find that's why we have community of practice. So try to relate with other mothers that are in similar situation. Because here we're blessed in Nigeria, so you can imagine in the UK, I felt very lonely. There was really nobody to talk to, and as a migrant, you might not even know the right places to go to. So try and you'll build that community. Then siblings, get the siblings involved. It would also help you. And please accept any help somebody gives you. If somebody comes to you and says, you know what, let me mind the baby. Go and have a rest. Please accept that. Go and have a rest and just be on your phone and watch a movie. So, yeah, basically.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for all you have said. Actually, viewers, we just want to let you know that the show will be extending by 5 minutes because we have a whole lot to discuss with the guests, but we would wrap up when it is time, just to let you know. Rachel?
Yeah, one other thing I would like to ask is I know special needs, it goes a long way, the time, the money involved. It's not like the regular children you take care of, whatever they need, okay, go ahead and that. How is it financial burden? Yes, this is where I'm coming from. How has it been? Because every other thing is special when it comes to taking care of the special kids. How has it been? And your foundation, how have you been handling it in terms of funding and yes, whatnot?
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Richard. Yes, no, honestly, it's financially exhausting. So it's not just mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's also financially exhausting. So, right. So, I've been working on, right now, I've just been surviving on, personal, coming from families, coming from friends. But like I said, for me, it's not business for me. It's, it comes from here. It's something I'm very passionate about because, like I said, I've been there. I'm talking about my own experiences, lived experiences. So I know there are people also in similar situations. So yes, I've been, support of family, friends, but right now I'm just trying to see if I can get grants because in the long run, what I want to do is to see how I can get this into, becomes part of a curriculum for higher level, because right now I'm going to be honest. Right now, I know my son is unable to go to university. If a miracle happens, to God be the glory. But right now, I know he's unable. So what do? I need to empower him. I need to give him skills. He needs to learn how to paint. He needs to learn how to do carpentry. Things like that. So yeah. So I'm also hoping that I can. I can also help someone else in similar situation because the truth is that sometimes you think about it, okay, what happens when you're not here? As parents, it's something natural. So yes, it's financially exhausting. It's actually a good one you've noted there.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc. Actually, we don't have much time on the show again, but just one last question before we let you go this morning. For parents who are just discovering that their child diagnostics, perhaps the diagnostic is coming to say this child has special need and perhaps within or that diagnostics fall within the autism spectrum. What is the message of hope that you would give to them, even as we wrap up?
Get off that flight that has taken you to Somalia. Get off the flight, grab your hand luggage, and go into the beach. Go to the beaches. So basically, what I'm saying is just, again, look for that strength. Okay, look for the strength your child has. Empower your child. Okay, so look for centers like the Mindful Bridges type. Look for places that can equip the child, because like I would always say, there's a lot of story. Yes, okay, we know about autism, we know about the symptoms, we know about. So my question is, so what? So we know all of this. How are we trying to ensure that they live a meaningful life? So that's where my foundation comes in. So as a parent of a child who's just been diagnosed, please do not lose hope. Trust me, it's not the end. So don't look at the limitations. Instead, look at the strength. Look at the possibilities.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Rachel. Lastly on the show.
Oh, just to our guest here, I salute your courage and your bravery. Yes, I feel like giving you a hug now. Yes,
I don't mind.
I feel like giving you a hug because you've gone out there to enlighten us, even in people in the society there, and those who are already giving up to keep on the hope and keep fighting, and to the people out there in the society. I pray and I beg you, stop the stigmatization. Accept these ones as your own, and the society will be better off than we see it now. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, I must say. And then I will wrap the show from this point. But I want to leave you with this. Coping with special need is not just about medical care. It's about compassion. It's about inclusion. And it's about recognizing that every human being, regardless of ability, has a purpose and a place in the society. So when next you meet someone living with autism, give them a smile, engage with them, support them, and see the person, and make emphasis to this again. See the person and not the condition. Let's all play our part in creating a world where differences are celebrated and not judged. Viewers, this would be the size of our package on today's now streaming show. I want to thank my wonderful guest in person of Dr. Rose Umbanefo and my co-anchor. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Godwin.
All right. And my co-anchor, Rachel.
Thank you, Godwin, for we spread the shift together.
Indeed. Yeah. And also to you viewers for staying tuned and sending in your comments and all others things you have done with us in the show this morning. Remember, you can get more of our programs via various social media platforms and also by staying tuned to this station. So we'll come your way again with other interesting topics. Same time, same station tomorrow. Do have yourselves a great week ahead. I am Godwin Ojiri, and bye for now.